what's up guys, Gons here for the Face Like the Sun channel. If you value the content produced on this channel, please consider supporting us on Patreon. It seems like almost everybody in the truth community online, of all shapes, colors, and bents, are making a video about Operation Gotham Shield. And as usual, I'm throwing into the mix, but I want to provide just some different things to think about, different possibilities, dig into the word Gotham, and just the strange things that are associated with the whole concept. Now, for those of you who don't know, Gotham Shield 2017 is a drill that's happening to evaluate the whole community effort to prevent, protect from, respond to, and plan initial recovery after the effects of an improvised nuclear device attack using established exercises to achieve objectives in the relevant mission areas and capabilities. And I'll leave a link to that FEMA PDF document. It's a real thing. It's happening in the New Jersey area, so prayers out to those folks there to have a hedge of protection, and if something truly is going to go down, that the Lord leads them to safety. But we've seen people speculate about this being a setup for a false flag. We've seen videos of people talking about CMEs, and if you dig around online, you're going to find a lot of people throw in different geopolitical angles with North Korea and everything else. But many of you who watch this channel know a lot of the geopolitical staging is just that, staging, and a lot of it is meant to cause fear and stir up the drums of war, which has been increasing in the recent days, weeks, and months. But I thought I'd give a couple different perspectives. As you know, one of the mottos for the podcast I'm involved with, called Canary Cry Radio, is think outside the cage. And so we're going to do that in this video. And again, it's just to throw into the conversation about this whole Gotham Shield operation. And perhaps some people have covered some of these items that I'll go over, perhaps not, but it's just to give you guys some more food for thought. Now, we all know Gotham, or Gotham City, from Batman, and I think a lot of us associate Gotham with Batman, and we'll do a little digging there, but the fact that this operation is called Gotham Shield is very interesting in conjunction with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the other show that's with Marvel. Now, Marvel and DC Comics, obviously they're different comic brands, but in terms of superhero shows on TV, both Gotham and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are big hits. And so it makes you kind of question why they would use those trigger words associated with television programming. And a lot of it has to do with predictive programming and psychologically conditioning the masses a certain way so that the real thing seems almost like a movie. And I think a lot of us can relate to that. Back on September 11th, 2001, I was 18 years old, and I didn't know what was going on at all, any of the conspiracy stuff or anything. And I sat there and watched the towers go down, and I thought, man, this looks like a movie. And I heard many friends say the same thing. And if you recall, when that happened, the movie that everybody went to go rent that week was Independence Day. So there's a clear connection with entertainment media and the reality of the dark, faceless elite behind the George Soros, behind the Clintons, behind all these people that are being exposed now. It's a systematic exposure. It's meant to cause division. It's meant to cause a teardown so that they can build it back up. And I think part of this is, again, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, the UN 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, which seems to be pressing forward. It has the blessing of the Pope. But in any case, I've documented a lot of that stuff before. In this case, as I started to dig into the word Gotham and look at articles and things like that in recent days to see what kind of trigger words or what kind of things are out there, I found this article on CBR.com. New Gotham trailer promises the city will be torn apart. I mean, I don't know, it's just a very uncomfortable headline. Even though it's just an entertainment blog or whatever this is, it just makes you go, that's really interesting. Now, if we dig into the etymology of the word Gotham, it says here, New York City, first used by Washington Irving in Salmagundi, 1807, based on Merry Tales of the Madmen of Gotham 1460, a collection of legendary stories of English villagers alternately wise and foolish. There's a village of this name in Nottinghamshire, originally Gotham 1086, in Old English, which means enclosure, literally homestead, where goats are kept. It is unknown if this was the place intended in the stories. So that's really interesting. An enclosure, literally a homestead where goats are kept. And given biblical passages like in Matthew 25 about the sheep on the right hand of God and the goats on the left hand of God, there's just a lot of associations and possibilities here that are very bizarre. And I'm not saying there's definitely something there. Again, these are just interesting points that I point out to make you think. Because ultimately, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers. And these principalities and powers, they've been around for a really long time, and they're really smart. And they know how to deceive, and in the spiritual world, these associations might be more significant than we would lead on. And of course, Gotham has the word Goth in it, which has a rich history of the Germanic people who lived in Eastern Europe circa 100 AD, from the late Latin Gothus, from the Greek Gothos, and in the 3rd century CE, these Germanic peoples invaded the Roman Empire and were converted to Arian Christianity, and they used, in a sense of rude or uncivilized person, savage, despoiler, in the 1660s in reference to their 5th century sacking of Roman cities. And if we are to tie in the current administration and any kind of connection to Gotham, well, you can find stuff like that as well. But you know me, in this channel, we're going to look at even some weirder things here, and I'm going to dig up random, crazy, weird things, and here's an example of that. There's a book that was published in 2016 by Adam Walker titled Ball, a Novel. And even though it was just published in 2016, you can't find the book on Amazon anymore, although I do believe it can be found in other places. But in the book, there's some really interesting things associated with Gotham. Now, remember, this is just a story, and it actually follows a girl named Sandra, this 16-year-old genius girl who can program stuff and build AI and all this stuff. Let me just read some lines from this book and let me know what you think. Here we go. By the time she was 15, she already mastered the 686s, the cube-shaped 886s, and the Bantam Mark II. That summer, she stripped her Bantam tower to the bone, wiped the hard drive, and began working on her own programming language, which she called Gotham. It would eventually become the first language dedicated exclusively to an artificial intelligence framework. And then later, quote, in violation of every stricture, Sandra installed her Gotham language onto the lab servers, hidden in an auxiliary boot sector that no one would have reason to search. But senior tech student Olivia Wells had been watching Sandra through her sharp blue eyes. She found Gotham tucked away between lines of dummy BIOS code, end quote. And in fact, the artificial intelligence named Gotham speaks in this story. Now let me continue here, quote, when Sandra first hid the original Gotham AI program deep in the recesses of Caltech servers, she dropped breadcrumbs to help her find her way back. She set up a simple math problem. The answer was plugged in as a variable in a second problem, and the second problem's answer was used as a variable in a third. It was a simple safeguard, solve for the variables. The 10th problem yielded an answer of 9/5, which she rounded up to 2. She typed in the letter G into the command prompt twice. This took her to another prompt with a bare, blinking cursor. She entered Gotham AI launch. The date is November 19, 2039. A male voice rang out over the speakers. It's been 4 years, 2 months, and 29 days since you last logged in. It's nice to see you again, Sandra. My, you're looking pretty. Hearing Gotham's voice again was like listening to a forgotten song from her childhood. She exhaled, allowing stages of stress inside her stomach to uncoil. What brings you back? Gotham asked. The sinking feeling that I'm losing my grip on artificial intelligence, she answered. The feeling that I don't have the answers anymore. The answers to what questions? Conversations with Gotham followed a predictable pattern. Gotham parsed a statement for keywords. If uncertainties remained, it inquired about them. No doubt Sandra was being too vague, but did even she understand what she meant? I feel like I've been here before. You've been here many times, Sandra. I don't mean here physically in this lab. She stopped to think. Gotham, has anyone had access to your systems over the past 4 years besides me? No human user. No human has made use of my systems, but I have made use of them as you programmed me to do. End quote. So, in this story, there is an artificial intelligence named Gotham that was programmed to use people or control people. Now, that's just bizarre, and the whole tie-in with artificial intelligence with this whole event is very, very interesting to consider. Not just because Jade Helm a year ago and Jade Helm 15 and the whole artificial intelligence rumors there, but because Gotham and Gotham City in the fictional world also had an artificially intelligent supercomputer that evolved throughout the story over the years. But if you look at the history of the Batcomputer, it's done some amazing things, and they've portrayed some amazing things over the years. In Batman in 1989, the Batcomputer is basically a giant surveillance system. In Batman Returns, the Batcomputer is first seen when Bruce reads the files of the Red Triangle Circus of the Penguin, and he also uses the computer to damage Penguin's campaign for mayor of Gotham City via frequency interference by playing a recording in which Penguin was insulting the citizens of Gotham. Towards the end of the film, Alfred does the same thing against the army of penguins in the service of the villain. And in Batman and Robin in 1997, Alfred programs his brain algorithms into the Batcomputer and creates a virtual simulation of himself. And in The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, this Batcomputer is connected to the Gotham City Police Department criminal database, and Batman is able to use it for surveillance. And in the animated series, the Batcomputer is used as an information database for episodes The Laughing Fish and His Silicon Soul. And in Beware the Batman, the Batcomputer shows some degree of sentience and personality, constantly telling Batman his odds for living. And while at the very beginning of the Batman series, the computer was just a punch card, now it's considered and portrayed as a quantum supercomputer. And again, this is just fiction, but there's a reflection where art mimics life and life mimics art. The Batcomputer has been a constant tool for Batman throughout the entire Batman series, and it's just very interesting how that part of this fictional story evolved along with the actual technological advancements. And again, this might be just art mimicking life, but at the same time, the capacities and capabilities of the supercomputer and the way Batman uses it, it's just very interesting and bizarre. I tie it back to the Jared Kushner video I made and the quotes by Eric Schmidt of Google saying and praising Jared Kushner about him using algorithms to basically win the campaign for Donald Trump, which is very similar to the Batman Returns use of the supercomputer to damage Penguin's campaign for mayor of Gotham City. In other words, using the database and knowledge base to gain an advantage in a political race. And at this point, you might be saying, Gons, you're way too deep in the rabbit trail. You're bringing Batman fiction stories to reality. It's really not possible. Well, when it comes to Gotham and technology or information technology, here's something really weird. There's a company called Gotham Technology Group. Now, Gotham Technology Group, here's the website. Why have the triangle behind the O? Like, honestly, what's the point of that as part of the logo? I'm not saying every triangle logo has to do with the Illuminati, but, you know, it's just weird that they would have that. Now, this is an IT organization that does cybersecurity, virtualization, core server and desktop infrastructure, application development, and data centers. And where is HQ for Gotham Technology Group? 1 Paragon Drive, Suite 200, Montvale, New Jersey, right where they're doing Gotham Shield. Again, I'm not saying that there's a connection with this private company, Gotham Technology Group, and the Gotham Shield planned by FEMA of a response drill to a nuke going off. But you have to admit that this is weird, and if you go through the leadership of Gotham Technology Group LLC, you have, I believe these are brothers Silverman, you have Ira, Adam, and Richard, the CEO, president, and chairman, and a lot of it is just high-level IT technology stuff. But the president, Adam Silverman, was part of the hands-on skills in designing and building world-class infrastructure, security, and remote access solutions, which seems to make sense in this kind of drill. Where would they route the information, the databases, all that stuff, should a nuke go off? And then the chairman, Richard Silverman, who actively participates in Gotham's growth, most recently spearheading Gotham's expansion into providing services to the federal government and its agencies through Gotham Government Solutions. And if you look for the Gotham Solutions website here, it says here Gotham Government Solutions GGS, which again is really bizarre that back in that story that I read for you earlier, the gal typed in GG to access Gotham, the artificial intelligent machine. That's just bizarre. But it's to provide technology solutions and augmentation services to the federal government, its agencies, and system integrators, supporting key mission objectives. And it also provides service to state and local governments, educational institutions, utilities, and healthcare facilities eligible for government contracts and rate considerations. And they're subcontracted to Encore 2, Department of Defense, and other federal agencies. And the information technology supplies and support services for the Department of Justice, another subcontract. So here you go, Gotham Technology Group, a direct connection to the federal government and the Department of Defense. I mean, guys, I'm just showing you the info. I'm not suggesting that there is concrete connections with all this, but it does make you think, what's really going on? And again, take this into account along with all the other videos of Gotham Shield and its project, and there's lots of different angles and places that I can get into, but I won't because other people have already done it in their videos, and perhaps somebody already covered Gotham Technology Group. But these are the kinds of connections that just make you scratch your head and go, maybe there is something weird going on here that has to do with information technology, supercomputers, quantum computers, and perhaps an artificial intelligence that is very sophisticated and perhaps even out of control. As I talked about a couple videos ago, that we are already at war with AI. What if this is AI telling the Gotham Technology Group, and through them the Department of Defense and the Department of Justice and FEMA and all these government institutions to conduct this quote-unquote test, and then combine that with the power outages that went out? I mean, this whole thing is just very bizarre. So I say all these things and I report these things not to bring fear, because we don't have a spirit of fear, but we do have the spirit of power and of love and of a sound mind. And I think we have to stay sober about these things. Don't just trail off into all the fear-mongering stuff going on. This is a spiritual war, and that means there are spiritual layers to this, of which the connections made in this video are mere possibilities. Thanks for watching this video. Again, if you appreciate the content that's created here, please support us on Patreon. Have an awesome day, guys. God bless.